Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
This just into our newsroom. The Ramsey County Medical Examiner's Office has identified 2 people found dead in a Fergus Falls apartment late last night.
41-year-old Sarah Cheshire died of homicide due to a gunshot wound, and 41-year-old Ryan Cheshire died of suicide due to a gunshot wound. The 2 were recently divorced. It happened at 1447 Patterson Loop in an apartment complex. We spoke with one of the neighbors, and this is what he saw.
I heard this guy yell out, "Call 911," and he sounded like he was in a panic or in shock, and I heard the girl talking on the phone with the dispatcher.
The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension is assisting with the investigation.
That in the coming weeks, I will be resigning as a member of the United States Senate.
U.S. Senator Al Franken is resigning over mounting allegations of inappropriate sexual behavior.
His colleagues telling him it's time to go. Blaine Alexander is in Washington with that story.
With almost no support left in the United States Senate, Senator Al Franken announcing he will be resigning his seat.
There is some irony in the fact that I am leaving while a man who has bragged on tape about his history of sexual assault sits in the Oval Office, and a man who has repeatedly preyed on young girls campaigns for the Senate with the full support of his party.
Franken taking a swipe at President Trump and Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore, but notably not apologizing for any of his alleged behavior.
Some of the allegations against me are simply not true. Others I remember very differently.
One of his accusers calling that appalling.
He just keeps passing the buck and making it out to be something that we took his behavior the wrong way.
The pressure started mounting after a 7th woman came forward, publicly alleging sexually inappropriate behavior. Today's announcement coming after a 24-hour domino effect of colleagues pushing him to step aside.
It's a very tough situation, but he did the right thing, and I think we're at a very important moment in our history.
Now, with his days as a senator numbered, Al Franken leaving the Capitol, walking into an uncertain future.
Also speaking out today, Franken's original accuser, who said she never called on him to resign and says she's surprised it came to this. It's up to Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton to name a replacement for Franken. He says he hasn't decided. The Democratic governor says he expects to make an announcement in the next couple of days. Whomever he names will serve until a special election. Franken's term runs through 2020.
Today's weather was a nice turnaround, hardly any wind, and there was some melting. Can you keep that going for us, Hutch?
Well, it looks like we will, as a matter of fact, have a chance at some milder weather right into the weekend. For this evening, though, it really has been a nice break from the gusty winds of the last few days. We still are seeing a few gusts way down to the south in Sisseton. Otherwise, 5 to 15 mile per hour winds from the west. Now, we do have some clouds, and a few flurries cannot be ruled out on a pretty cloudy night, but it's those clouds that will keep temperatures fairly steady this evening, Mike. So if you're heading out, temperatures aren't going to change too much between now and even during the overnight hours. I'll have details as we close out our work week and head toward the weekend here in just a few moments.
Thanks. Look forward to it.
A chemical explosion sent a, quote, large fireball into the air this morning in Richland County, North Dakota. Authorities were called out for a fire at a small storage shed at ABU Trailers in Dwight, North Dakota, which is just west of Wahpeton. Deputies say there was a trailer with chemicals stored in 55-gallon containers, and the fire caused the containers to explode. A release from the sheriff's office says the chemicals that exploded are no risk to the public, but they're not sure exactly which chemicals were involved. The fire remains under investigation.
The Fargo man will be back in court in February after being accused of assault and kidnapping. 19-year-old Muhammad Ali was arrested by Grand Forks police last month after a woman says her son was attacked and robbed by Ali and 2 other men. The incident allegedly happened outside their apartment building in the 1200 block of 44th Street South. After being robbed, the victim says he was forced to drive the 3 men to Grand Forks. Ali's contested preliminary hearing will be held February 7th.
There will be a new system to alert some North Dakota residents of severe weather and emergency situations. Barnes, Stutzman, and Richland counties will drop the code red notification system and replace it with Everbridge. The company will notify the public of emergency situations and also cut the yearly service fee to $2,400 compared to $5,000 annually. The notification system will be used to inform residents of severe weather and emergency situations by leaving messages in voicemail boxes, answering machines, email, or text messages. Residents will be notified on when the changes will start in the near future.
Unlike many eastern states, in North Dakota, you can get in your vehicle and freely cruise down the highway. But now, state leaders are considering certain forms of tax increases that could lead you to keeping some extra change in your car. The North Dakota Finance Committee is tossing around the idea of toll roads. They are expecting $66 million shortfall in transportation funding that needs to be made up. Another option, instead of toll roads we could use or we could see, are a road use tax, private company partnerships, or the first state gas tax increase in more than a decade.
Children battling often life-threatening diseases are going to get some extra help, and many of you are playing a big part. Your contributions through Walmart and Sam's to the Children's Miracle Network are adding up big time, more than $250,000 for Sanford Children's Hospital in Fargo. The money was raised through the 23 Walmart stores and Sam's Clubs in North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota. It'll help pay for devices aimed at taking kids' minds off the treatment or surgery they may be going through. The $251,000 raised this year is a 14% increase over what was raised last year.
The country is remembering Pearl Harbor today, the day that Japan attacked the United States naval base, drawing the U.S. into World War II. In New York, survivors of the attack remembered fellow servicemen killed in that early morning raid 76 years ago. In Washington, D.C., President Trump, with 6 survivors by his side, signed a proclamation as Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. One of the vets broke out into a soulful song.
Remember Pearl Harbor as we go to meet the foe. Just remember Pearl Harbor as we did the Alamo.
December 8, 1941, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt declared war on Japan. To honor National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum and Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton directed all state government agencies to fly the U.S. and state flags at half-staff from sunrise to sunset.
A North Dakota high school graduate has all the answers necessary to keep him on a popular game show. Details on how much money he's earned so far. That's later on Valley News Live at 6.
Up next, police want you to take a close look at some photos, hoping you can ID this person.